Hello, 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 and welcome to another edition of the Brooklyn Baby Podcast with me, your host, Charlene Sabb. Hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing so well and feeling great and blessed. I know I'm feeling so good, so great, and I feel every blessing in my life that God has bestowed upon me. And I know it's been a few weeks or a couple of weeks, and I'm getting back on track because mama is now retired, baby. Yes, yes, and yes. Yes, yes. 18 years of teaching, and God has afforded me the opportunity to be retired, okay? And not rely on the retirement from the school system for which I work. Now, don't get me wrong, I got 401k and all that other great stuff, but God has put me in a financial position because of the blessings He bestowed upon me to be retired early, okay? And God must have known my threshold, and I have a very high threshold, but not a high threshold for mess and bullshit. Let's call it what it is. And God was like, enough. Get my child of God out of where she's working. Let her enjoy the fruits of her labor and retire earlier than most. Okay. And God just touched my life. And I'm here to tell you, if you don't believe in a God like I do, I'm here to tell you God does exist. Because, and I'm not trying to brag, I'm not trying to make anyone feel badly or try to flex, but I'm just going to just give you a little testimony, because I know the average person, whether you work in the school system or not, usually puts in at least get to the 20. I only worked 18 years, but at least get to the 20, if not 25. The goal is 30. However, God was like, you know what? I'm letting her retire early and now. And I am so grateful. So now I have time to really travel extensively, complete the 2 novels that I'm working on other passion projects, which are going to be announced very soon, within the next 2 months, definitely by July at the latest. And I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Okay. So there you go. So basically, I've been a teacher for 18 years and I enjoy it. I miss my children. Several of them have contacted me through social media and through other modes of communication. And if any of you children are listening, I miss and love all of you. But it was my time to just park it. It was my time to park it. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I love what I did. I love what I did. And I love the English language, the study of the English language and writing and helping others. But there comes a point in anyone's life, if you feel that you are working against the grid and working and swimming upstream and you're not appreciated and the system that you work for is rigged and people who don't work half as hard, or there might be some gender issues, there might be some ages issues, there might be some misogynistic issues, there might be some race issues, where you see that certain people, it's like a good old boys club. And when you see that you're working hard and people come at you maliciously, not pleasantly, you see that certain people can coast their way, whereas you gotta always be on top. You gotta be perfect. You gotta be this. You gotta be that. While other people are just backsliding, coasting, and have the nerve to judge you and to set booby traps for you and watch you and police you and monitor you. It's time to go. It's time to go. And I guess the bottom line, and this is happening in a lot of school systems. So the bottom line, I'm like, I said, I don't need this bullshit. I'm out. Peace. And I know everyone financially can't do that. I'm just so grateful, beyond grateful and blessed that I'd have to put up with no more bullshit. That's the bottom line, end of story, point blank. That I could just do me, live my life, live my best life, work on my passion projects, complete the 2 other novels that I'm working on. If you haven't purchased my first book, if he doesn't come a call and practical tips for dating, go purchase it, please. My other book coming out is Brooklyn Baby. And in addition to Brooklyn Baby, I have another book called Quotable Quotes 365, motivational quotes for each day. And I'm just so excited about these projects and other projects coming out as well. And just enjoy time with my family, my friends, travel, split my time between living in my hometown in New York City, Brooklyn to be exact. Hey, go Knicks. 'Cause I know Knicks have a big game coming up. I'm actually filming this right now, Friday. I know this is probably going to drop on Saturday at my normal time at 1 p.m. But I know prior to this recording, the New York Knicks are playing the Boston Celtics at the Madison Square Garden tonight at 6 o'clock, I believe. Go Knicks. I love my Brooklyn Nets and I love my New York Knicks. But when I go home to Brooklyn, I got to represent and go to Barclays Center and watch my Brooklyn Nets play. Even though historically when I was younger, I would go to Madison Square Garden with my son's godmother, my bestie, Christine. Hey, Christine. We went to the same private school together. And we've been friends since we were 11 years old. Anyway, so it's like, I'm just like I said, I'm just happy to split my time between living here in Raleigh, North Carolina and Brooklyn, New York. And I'm just excited. I'm excited. New beginnings. And I'm just going to say to anybody, I hope no one within the sound of my voice ever feels stuck in a situation. If you ever do feel like you are stuck or you got to get out of a certain situation, work-wise or any other, it could be in any realm of life, find an exit plan, pray, find out something that you're passionate about, something that you would not mind doing for a living. For me, it's these passion projects I keep talking about, including finalizing 2 novels that are going to be published under my own brand, Sab Publishing. Okay. Just find something that you're passionate about, something that you like to do. If you like cooking, if you like making clothing, if you like podcasting, if you, whatever your passion, try to figure out what it is, tap into it and monetize it. Okay. 'Cause nothing's cool about doing something that you don't like doing. Now teaching, I love teaching. And it wasn't the kids that were an issue. It wasn't the parents that were an issue. It just seemed like every single school I went to, it was the adults that were the problem. The adults, with, like I said, this good old boys club, people who don't handle things that need to be handled, people who put labels on people. I had one woman, it came out right when I was leaving my school, that a woman referred to me as being a mean teacher. This woman has never stepped foot in my classroom, but it got back to me that she referred to me as a mean teacher and referred to another teacher as having a classroom that's not good classroom management. And she has never stepped foot in that person's classroom who she said has bad classroom management. And she never stepped foot in my classroom saying the woman said who I was mean. Now, my thing is, if anyone says that I am mean, that means I'm doing my fucking job. Okay? Because typically 9 times out of 10, if you're considered a mean teacher, it means you're holding shit down. You're holding kids accountable. You don't take no mess. You run an airtight. So I'd rather her call me that than when she called the other teacher and said that teacher had a class with no classroom management, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Because me, especially as a Black language arts teacher, which is already a rarity, especially where I live in many areas, unless you're in an urban area, I consider that a badge of honor. I'd rather be that teacher considered mean, holding shit down, than being a teacher who's considered weak with no classroom management. And by the way, the person that she referred to as a weak teacher with no classroom management happened to be white. And I guess that person has that white privilege. But no one could ever have a narrative anywhere I work that I don't hold shit down. And my test scores never lied. Okay. But it's just a lot of stuff. The school system where I worked could trim a lot of fat. There are people who get paid much more than I do. And it wasn't about the money, because I have money. But there are people who got paid for just teaching one or two classes a day, police micromanage other people, and have something to say about everything going on in the building. And then there's some people who've been there too long. There's some people who are just used to running their good old boys club, name calling, policing, and a lot of people were used to my school being the same neighborhood school that it used to be back in yesteryear over 30 years ago. But now my school is in a predominantly white neighborhood, but they busing a lot of black and brown kids. And the people who've been there too long, much longer than they should and should retire, like I did, got to get used to the fact that it's no longer a neighborhood school. Okay, get over it. And you need to have people in place at that school who represent the now black, predominantly black and brown population that are at that school. Okay, stop thinking that, and I'm not saying that white teachers can't teach people of color. I'm not saying that. But if you are a white teacher teaching black and brown people of color, treat them fairly. Don't act like you're afraid of them. Don't run away from them. Try to relate to them. Because people used to wonder, how do you hold down the classroom the way you do? It's not just me being black, but I'm a black person, or a person, because color really has nothing to do with it, who can relate to the kids, who built relationships with the kids, who knows how to talk to the kids, and also a person who knew her shit and her content. Okay? And there were times I felt even limited with my content because I felt like I was made to feel at times, well, the county said I should be doing this on day this. If it's day 15 of the new unit, I'm supposed to be up to here. And if I'm not up to here, like my colleagues in the same subject, well, why are you not? Well, if so-and-so's up to this day in the content, we got to be neck and neck. But you got to give people grace. You got to let sometimes people expand and spread their wings and present what they have in their toolbox to show what you could do. I even got ostracized one time by an admin who questioned why my colleague was doing poetry and I was doing grammar. Now, how stupid does that sound for someone to question why I'm doing grammar with kids? And I told this person, well, I read these kids' writing, and I know, first of all, we finished the unit early, right before Christmas break. My colleague decided, okay, he and I spoke about it. He said he's going to do grammar with the kids since we finished the unit about a week or two before Christmas break, before our 5-week time off for track out, because I was at year-round school. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to do, because I'm going to always circle back to poetry because that's very important content, even though it's not really in the curriculum that Wake County Public Schools paid for. The whole curriculum needs to be trashed. It needs to be rewritten, revised. And if they need people like me to help rewrite the content in the curriculum, because I used to do that on the side for a part-time summer gig, I would be happy to. Because the curriculum is not matching up with the tests. It's not all-encompassing. It doesn't even include grammar. I'm like, what? It's the tests that they provide don't even match up with the way these kids are tested for the EOGs. It's a whole mess. And people got paid big bucks to provide a subpar curriculum that doesn't match up with what these kids need to learn in general and for a test. I'm not saying teach to a test. I'm not saying that, but at least have it all encompassing, give them a full curriculum. My colleague and I were teaching these kids grammar. We were teaching these kids the parts of speech, rules for writing. And I felt like before I retired, like I had still had some things I wanted to go with my kids with punctuation rules and other and quotation mark rules, comma rules. But I felt like I had, especially when I made the abrupt decision to retire early and to leave and resign, I felt like I need to like wrap it up and do, okay, if y'all want me to do this, bump it. I still had more things I wanted to expose my kids to when it came to the technical and mechanical and the punctuation of the English language. But I felt because people felt like, oh, well, we're trying to police us, and people felt like we had to follow day by day the curriculum, the crappy curriculum that Wake County had people develop for them like 7-8 years ago with this EL curriculum with daily lessons, daily worksheets, and trying to get pushed through. I said, you know what? Since I'm leaving, I'm just going to give them what they want. If they want me to follow what Wake County wants me to follow and get through this book as quickly as possible, bump it. But I felt like I was doing my kids a disservice because I still felt, even though I was able to squeeze in the grammar right before Christmas break, there was still some rules with punctuation, and mechanical and how to use a period correctly, comma rules, quotation mark rules, question mark rules, that I wanted to still go over with my kids. So anyway, I had an admin question me. Well, I said, first of all, I had to tell this chick that, yeah, we finished the curriculum early. And he made a decision to focus on poetry, which I was going to circle back to. But I've touched on it in the past. And I made the conscientious decision that I was going to expose them to the 8 parts of speech, which is something I traditionally do every year. See, my point is there's different rules for different people who are slacking, backsliding, not doing what they needed to do. If you were in with the in crowd that was predominantly white, you were good to go. But the few people who were not in with the in crowd, in my opinion, or who were being, who didn't go for that mess, you were ostracized. But people, let me, I can show you better than I could tell you. I said, I don't have to put up with any of that. And this goes to a lot of people, wherever they work, that are dealing with stuff like this. You know, I don't need a seat at your table. And anyone who worked with me knows I didn't try to mince my words. I wasn't trying to be Uncle Tom. I wasn't trying to be a house slave. I'm a field slave, for lack of a better term, and people can't stand when you're not trying to be up under them. They can't stand when you're not trying to be an Uncle Tom. They can't stand when you're not trying to cuddle up under massa. They can't. And I know they hated me, and I really don't care. The feeling's mutual. But at the same time, I don't want to be at your table. I don't like your table. I don't like you. I can build my own table. In fact, not only am I going to build my own table, I'm out here. I'm out. Peace. And that's exactly where I was at. Okay. So that's my truth. I'm here to tell you that really happened. But this is not even about that. This is really about me living my best life, enjoying my early retirement. Okay. That God has blessed me with financially. That I said, you know what? And I hope that anybody who feels what I have felt and went through what I went through, or ever felt like that at any workplace, that God will bless you the way he blessed me to be out of there. Because no one has to deal with mess. And the sad thing is, if it was a perfect world, I would have stayed at that school for the rest of the school year till the end of June. But I said, you know what? Life is short. No one has to put up with people not appreciating what they bring to the table. I even had one teacher, she used to be next door to me the year before. She would literally peek in my room. And I had someone else who didn't look like me said, is this person peeking in my room? Really? And the person confirmed, I don't know why, Miss Sapp, she keeps peeking in your room. Your kids are working quietly. But it's like, what are you looking for? Why are you policing me? What are you doing? And this woman, she could probably tell by my body language, I did not fuck with her. I did not. It's because how can I want to be around you when you are insulting me as a professional, as a grown woman, but you're always policing me, watching what I do, peeking in my classroom, and I'm supposed to be wanting to be around you and feel comfortable around you? Oh, hell to the no. And that's what I felt I went through, and other people primarily who look like me went through the same stuff at that place. And there were some people who didn't look like me who went through and still going through stuff like that at that place. And again, it's systemic. I feel there's a lot going on there, and other schools as well, and hopefully people will find their voice. Hopefully people, if you don't feel appreciated where you are, get in where you fit and build your own fucking table. Point blank, end of story. That's what I'm doing for myself. A table has already been built for me, and I'm going to add to that table by working on my passion projects. And unfortunately, the kids suffer because in a perfect world, I would have went through and finished out the remaining month and a half of school. But I said, you know what? This place is a headache. It's a headache. Poorly run, with people who don't appreciate people based on who's cool with who. I feel the color of your skin, in my opinion, and it's got to stop. But yet incompetence and mediocrity are praised depending on your skin color and who's cool with who. And when people really bust their behinds and try to do their work and go home and be professional and not trying to play patty cake with the powers that be, it feels that you're ostracized. And people are not even trying to see the talent you bring. Maybe someone said something bad about you. Maybe someone has a something against you because of your skin color. It could be a whole myriad of things. But you got to be an adult and let people show you what they can do, regardless of maybe what you've been told, regardless of maybe what you feel because of who they are or skin color or whatever. Like I said, the numbers don't lie. Okay? Test scores don't lie. Talent doesn't lie. Holding down and great class management doesn't lie. So again, living my best life. Hopefully, you all are living your best lives too. And don't be at tables where you're not wanted. And do like me, create your own table. All right. And that's all for now. That was a mouthful. I went in another tangent than I expected, but I guess it needed to be said because, I never hold my tongue. Anyway, stay blessed, stay beautiful, stay great. Until next time. Bye.